Hello all, it's Dosblop. It's been a good while since I've released any videos, so it's about time I finally come back to the YouTube. And what better way to do so with a review on an update for my most played and favorite game, Minecraft. For old viewers, you notice that this is not called a smoky scale, but is still considered a review. It's an odd change, I know, but get used to it. The Smoky Scale series is complete. For new viewers, welcome to the video, and I hope you all enjoy. A small disclaimer before we start though, I recorded this video before Minecraft Live 2023, so please be wary of that because there may be some outdated opinions. Anyways, let's get started. Minecraft 1.20 released earlier in June 2023 with mixed results. There seem to be people who really enjoyed everything that's gone into this update, but there are also people upset with the quality and density of this update. I'm among the people who think this update is both nice because why wouldn't more content to the game be nice? But I also think the update is underdeveloped in many of the features it presents, which seems to be a trend within all recent updates for this game. As someone who has essentially grown up with this game, it's really disappointing to see just how little thought went into some of these new features, but it's exciting to see that there is at least some stuff in this new update that actually feels complete and refreshing. So, I'm going to talk about my positives with the Trails and Tales update first. 1.20 was announced at Minecraft Live 2022 to have a different way of delivering features. They delivered a snapshot with the camel, chiseled bookshelves, hanging signs, and a bamboo wood set immediately after the livestream ended, which is something I thought they handled very well, just because it lets us know that these features are here to stay, and that players can actually test out the new things they showed us. But after this, it took them a while to deliver any more updates to us until 1 week, where they gave us a bunch of feature announcements letting us know that archaeology, a previously delayed feature from Caves and Cliffs, was being added. As well, a new biome called the Cherry Groves was announced, and the Sniffer was finally officially announced as well. While I feel as if they rushed out these announcements a little too quickly, I also think giving us a rollout of feature announcements for upcoming updates is something I'd want in the future because the week these were announced was definitely a good one. The new music being added, composed by Aaron Sheroff, was a little bit strange listening at first, but after re-listening a few times, I feel as if the music he composed fits the game way better than the new music added in previous recent updates. I hope he does come back, but ultimately I'd really hope for C418 to return, even though that's a near impossible event, due to Microsoft's unwillingness to come to an agreement with him over his new music. For actual game features, armor trims are probably my favorite feature in the entire update just because of how much possibility there is with them and how complete they are. While they aren't particularly useful, they are a really nice cosmetic touch that lets you stand out from others in multiplayer servers, and is something I feel has been missing in this game since forever. The Sniffer is a nice cozy dinosaur, which was added, and while I think the texturing is just way too detailed, it's a nice addition even though it's unironically useless in almost every way, unless you want to get its 2 new plants, which even then don't serve a proper use except for building materials. I'll talk about the 2 plants part later, because I feel like that's one part of this update that is very underdeveloped, and should not be like this. The new Cherry Grove biome was a genuine surprise for me, and is a great addition to the game. I think the ambience was done really well for the most part. Cherry wood is a great looking building material, and the new flowers working like candles is something I hope they do more of in the future. I will say that the lack of a village variant or unique mobs for this biome is disappointing and is something I'll also talk about later. As for unique blocks such as chiseled bookshelves, calibrated skulk sensors, hanging signs, and the bamboo mosaic, I think they are great additions that expand upon older ideas which I would have loved to see more of in this update. Onto the technical side, which I know basically nothing about. They seem to have updated the lighting engine for the game, making performance for the game a lot better. I could say for myself that the game does feel less janky even in single player worlds, and using something like Optifine with it really just shows the improvement. I hope more optimizations like this are made in the future to make Java Edition actually runnable without Optifine or a high-spec computer. This is pretty much all the positives I have to talk about for this update. Now, while there are quite a bit of positives, let's not forget that I still have to talk about the negatives. So let's get to it! The first negative I have about the update, even though it's contradictory to the previous segment and its contents, is the sniffer. It's without doubt that mob votes typically introduce the most useless mobs ever, with Mojang's mind seemingly being to make a design for a mob, but to think of a random use for it later down the line, so they can implement it into a mob vote. But I think a talk about the mob votes is something better suited for a different video. The sniffer was a pretty cool mob looking from a mob vote, but seeing it in game, it's completely over-designed and over-detailed for a game that's meant to look simple and blocky. While I understand that mobs will have bigger textures due to their bigger model sizes, the texturing on the sniffer is so over-detailed that it genuinely makes it look like it's on another plane of existence. Besides its design being overcomplicated, its use was meant to be sniffing out ancient plant seeds, which was given a very vague description during the vote of what they'd be used for. Was it a food? Was it cosmetic? It wasn't until after the sniffer one where it was said that the plants would only be decorative and serve no use besides that. Probably one of Mojang's favorite tactics when it comes to new features is to give a vague description of what the new thing is or does, which sounds cool on paper at the moment, but then later give a proper description of it that disappoints each time. But even then, how many plants can the sniffer dig up? 2. Only 2 plants. The update was in development for over a year, and you're telling me they could only find the time to work on 2 plants? Well, we know that's not true because of leaks. Before the 2 plants were revealed, we had knowledge about 3 new plants due to a surprising leak by a user on Twitter known as Badgerman. The 3 plants included the 2 that are currently in game, plus a new vine-like plant with flowers on it that didn't make it into the game for seemingly no reason. All in all, the sniffer, like most mob vote winners, was a disappointment to say the least. Now for the cherry blossom biome. See, I don't actually mind this biome existing in any way, but what I don't understand is they don't seem to be updating any structures to fit with the new biomes they introduce. If you go to one of these biomes, you'll come across a regular Plains village and a regular Plains village outpost. But there are no new structures in these biomes that is worth making a journey to them, unless you're a builder. It's a problem I also have with mangrove swamps, a biome that I didn't mind existing, but I thought was missing any new structures or variants to go with it. It feels very unnecessary. And of course, maybe they do have something new for the biomes down the road, but it'd be nice if we got the new features for them in the next update instead of 2 to 3 updates afterwards, which is a long wait, 1 update a year, so we're waiting like 3 years. Now for the final negative opinion I have on this update, it goes for archaeology. For a feature that had been cooking ever since the reveal of Caves and Cliffs back in 2020, it already had developer art for it to show what it looks like. You'd think that the feature on release 3 years later would be something revolutionary for the game, but alas, that's not the case. Archaeology is probably the biggest blunder for me when it comes to new features in the game as of recent. For one, there is genuinely no reason for me to ever interact with the system because it serves no purpose unless I want to craft pots or find a single music disc, which will only be a use case for me once. But that's even if I bother with it. What's even worse for me when it comes to Archie is the fact that when it was initially announced, you were meant to have crafted raw pots and cooked it on top of a fire. But before you had actually cooked them, you could place what we now know as pottery sherds onto the pot wherever you wanted them which genuinely allowed for some unique interactability in the game that we still don't have to date. But now on release, there is no raw pottery. You can't place shards on them like you could in the reveal. Now you have to use a crafting table and can only use 4 shards for the pattern. What happened during then and now? The new structure that came with the Trail Runes is a structure that is not worth going to in the slightest unless you want its music disc, despite it being very rare in my experience. The Trail Runes is genuinely on par with Desert Wells for its use, and that should not be the case at all. Well, I know Minecraft is something that will continue to be updated in the far future. But it's just disappointing that we have to wait for anything like this to be updated for such a long time, and that they launch in a state that makes it seem like they're rushed even though they say they're not. Minecraft has gotten tons of criticism in recent years, and it is not without reason. Ever since Microsoft acquired Mojang, things have slowly but surely changed for the company and the game. Updates now only release once a year, with the exception of Caves and Cliffs, but that's only because they split the update into 2 parts after the team working on the update on Mojang realized they wouldn't be able to fit in the new overworld generation in time for the release date of Update 1.17, which would have been the only update for Caves and Cliffs. Beyond that, there seems to be less of an ambition surrounding the actual game, and it feels like Mojang is more set out to create spin-offs such as Minecraft Dungeons and the now defunct Minecraft Legends, which have been released to heavy criticism following either a lackluster or mediocre campaign, or weird monetizations such as DLC that released only a month after Dungeons released, or a version of Bedrock's Marketplace but explicitly for Minecraft Legends, which was announced a month after as well. With so much work going into Minecraft, a huge worldwide franchise with so many parts and pieces, and playing a role within its own little universe, it's no wonder why most Minecraft updates that have been released have felt underdeveloped even though they present some really great ideas. I can't even say time is an issue when it comes to Mojang, like it does other game companies such as Game Freak, because most Minecraft updates are in development before they're even revealed. There are certain updates where I could definitely say they spent their time in good ways. Ones like 1.18, where the overhauled world and cave generation don't come without a lot of time. Heck, they even had to delay it by a few months. I've heard some stories about 1.16 being very rushed in its development, and to be honest, I can see it. You could say that the update added a lot, but in reality, how much of that content adds up 3 years later? Bastions didn't even have a proper use case until a netherite upgrade was made as an item that you needed to visit Bastions to obtain. But look at current updates and they do the exact same thing. So are all new updates rushed? That's where we come back to the latest update, where it's the same amount of time they had with the Nether update, but with less content and still no use case for a lot of the new content. It's disappointing, but that's where we are at with this game. I don't think I'll ever be done with Minecraft. I'm like a veteran World of Warcraft player. It'll always be a game to come back to, and with 1.21 being revealed later this month, I hope that will be interesting enough for me to make a good comeback to the game. Personally, 1.19 and 20 left me feeling burnt out. Too many bad decisions, too much bad PR for Mojang, with a lot of good ideas that have just been left undercooked, or not even in the game. I'm hopeful the next update will be better. Update 1.20, The Trails and Tales, gets a disappointing 4 out of 10. Anyways, that's about it. See ya.